Hey everybody, it is Prince's Friend. I wanted to come here today and kind of give you my thoughts on the Last Year of Prince documentary that was on the BBC. I did finally get to watch it and kind of wanted to come here and give you my thoughts. So the first thing I want to say is I'm not going to give you any clips because I don't own any of those clips. I don't want to get in trouble or whatever, so there's not going to be any clips here, but I'm kind of going to give you a kind of blow for blow of what the documentary kind of covers, what I thought was interesting about it, and what I actually kind of think was kind of filler. So the first thing that I want to say is it was definitely a documentary style piece, which I actually really enjoyed. I prefer that type instead of the way that the When Doves Cry documentary that the Real Network did, where it was all dramatized and it was kind of dumb anyway. This one instead was very documentary-wise, which kind of had a way of obviously relaying that information well and directed, but also made it slightly dry. So some of the stuff here, it was just kind of like, well, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and like, you know, and then they would cut to interviews with some of the people who knew Prince. Andy Allo's on here, CeeLo Green, Cory Booker, Al Sharpton, those are some of the major ones there. George Clinton, obviously. You know, for the most part, it was the documentary, the narrator, and it was the clips of that they got from different people. So I did actually think it was good. And then they really literally take you through the last year of Prince's life. They start in April, and then they kind of go through the year. So I'm not going to hit everything, but I'm going to hit the major points that they did talk about. But they do actually take you through the whole year, and it gets very granular near the end, where they kind of go day for day. But at first, at least, they go month to month. So now with all that in mind, so on May 2nd, he recorded Baltimore, which was cool because I didn't actually know the date that he did that. And if you want to see a video that I did about Baltimore, I actually did a whole little video that I did, you should go watch that. But apparently he recorded it with Erin Allen Kane, and it was cool actually to hear her tell her story about how she helped Prince bring this track to life, and that was actually a really nice story. I hadn't actually seen the video for Baltimore anywhere, and they actually did like a lyric video for it. So if anybody can hook me up with that, I actually would like to see it. There's some snippets in the documentary, but I actually would like to see the complete video if anybody knows where to find that. They did bring Cory Booker on to talk about the politics of Prince in his last year, and I don't really agree with everything that Cory Booker does. I think he's an okay politician, but he was one of Prince's friends, one of his close friends, so that was cool to hear his opinion and all of that stuff. I think what they do is they confirm a lot of what we already know, that Prince was an activist for Black Lives Matter. And then on May 10th, he threw a private benefit concert that was for that he performed in Baltimore as a reaction to the riots and whatnot. So, and that's where he performed Baltimore for the first time. The footage that they got from the fan phones were actually really awesome to watch. And then at that concert he covered Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, which was nice. It was, you know, a nice little tribute to Michael. And then they waste a ton of time talking about Purple Rain, which was kind of annoying. You know, he sang that movie in his movie of the same name, and he sang it at the Super Bowl. And then they go, oh man, the Super Bowl, let's talk about the Super Bowl for a few minutes. And then it was just kind of a bunch of filler that I wasn't really liking. George Clinton, I just want to say that it was really cool to see George Clinton in this documentary, but he adds absolutely nothing to this documentary. He's just kind of there, and he's cool, and he's saying like George Clinton-y things, like it's like a toolbox, and you know, the artist gets to play with the tools, and it's like, yeah, it's awesome, but dude, you really, you're not adding anything to this, but thank you for being here. So then in June of 2015, Prince played a secret gig at the White House with Stevie Wonder for the Obamas. Of course, it was leaked by Al Sharpton. Otherwise, nobody would have ever known that it happened. So it's like, oh, that's kind of weird, but awesome at the same time. Like, I wish I could get, a private, secret concert from Prince and Stevie Wonder. That would be amazing. And then they actually start talking a little bit about Paisley Park, because he goes back to Paisley Park to do something, and then they talk about Paisley Park, and they talk about the fight with Warner Brothers and his philosophy on the recording industry. If you don't own the master, then the master owns you. That was a common thing that he said, and it's reiterated here. It's good stuff, I guess, because it kind of gives you a context for people who don't know all of this stuff about Prince. But for me, again, it kind of felt like filler, and none of that stuff necessarily had anything to do with his last year, and until you get like much later. And then we get to his religion and his devotion to his religion, and they talk about how God and sex weren't separate for Prince, and again, all the stuff that we kind of know, and it might be nice for people who didn't know that, but it's nice to see that he practiced what he preached, but it was stuff we already know. So then in October, Prince also invited Madonna to a show, and they reconnected. So that's pretty cool, like, because I know that they were friends a long time ago and they had some whatever, but he was reconnecting with old friends and stuff, so that's nice, actually. Then they started talking about Prince playing the guitar, and again, it seemed like it was going to be filler stuff. They did talk about his performance of the My Guitar Gently Weeps at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and apparently he stole his guitar solo. He was not actually supposed to do all of that craziness that he did, and he just did it, and then they just couldn't stop him because he was already doing it, and it was amazing. So that was actually pretty fun to learn. But again, most of the stuff that they talked about in this section was just filler, and it was not about his last year. So anyway, and then he gets to New Year's Eve, where he throws a private party, and there's pics of him walking with a cane, but not like in a pimp way, like, I got a cane, but like on a, like, I need this cane kind of way. So there's that too. And I apologize, like, I know that I sound a little weird. I actually just got done watching the documentary. I wanted to kind of give you guys a fresh thing, but I did kind of start tearing up at the end, which is why I kind of sound like this. So then in January, he put on a special concert at Paisley Park for him to perform solo, which apparently was the first time in his career, and he did it with the encouragement of Andy Allo, which was interesting to learn. Like, they were friends and they had been jamming one-on-one for a while, and she encouraged him to do a solo show. And then in February, because that first solo show did so well, he started the piano and a mic tour, which was really cool, and I wish I would have been able to get to it. Oh my gosh, wish I could have gotten there. But they show some footage of the show that he did when he found out about Vanity's death, which I had actually already seen the full footage. It's really kind of sad because he talks about times and that they were together, and he tells a story about how he got the bodyguard to throw her in the pool and stuff like that. But they didn't actually show all like the kind of sad parts or the sweet parts. They just kind of showed like a little snippet. And then in March, he went to a basketball game, which was not anything really exciting, but it was cute because they made a big deal of him being there and put the camera on him and put like Prince in the bar beneath him, and then he just kind of looked at the camera like, I'm here for the game, like what? So I thought that was pretty funny. And then apparently, like the next day, he went over to like a Ray Charles tribute show and like ambushed it and was just like, I'm playing guitar at the thing. And it was really interesting because you find out that Ray Charles band was the last band that he got to play with in his life before he died. So it's like, So then mid-March, he announces that he's writing a memoir, and the documentary says that he got about 50 pages in before he died. So I really want to read those 50 pages if they ever get a chance to actually release those. Then at the tail end of March, he does some shows in Canada where he does a tribute to David Bowie. He sings Heroes, and they showed a little snippet of that as well. So then on April 7th is when he had to cancel some of his shows at the Fox Theater, and this was kind of weird because Prince never got sick and never canceled shows. Cory Booker and CeeLo Green both kind of confirm that, and they both say that sort of thing. So this is where we start to get a little granular here. So April 14th, a week later, Prince goes to Atlanta and apologizes for the canceled shows and says that he's better. And that night was the last night that CeeLo Green got to see Prince alive. It was actually, oh god, his part was really sad, seeing CeeLo Green like break down and cry, and oh my gosh. Then on April 15th, Prince passed out on the plane on his way home. They described Judith Hill as his girlfriend, which is something I didn't actually know. I thought that they were just working together, but that's, you know, kind of interesting that they actually were together. Anyway, they make an emergency landing and they bring him to an ER, and they're actually able to revive him on the runway and then check him out. And then they just send him home, which seemed very weird to me. And then on the 16th, he invited fans to Paisley Park for a dance party. He did not come out and perform. He came out and he was just like, hey everybody, everything's good. Let me show you my new guitar. Let me show you my new piano. But he just kind of said everything was fine. Then on the 17th, he tweeted some positive stuff, and some people caught him riding a bike. That frickin' bike, I'm telling you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch my video where I reviewed the other documentary with that friggin' bike. Then on April 20th, apparently this was his 4th time that week going to buy painkillers on the 20th. And apparently Prince went to Walgreens, just like the rest of us. And if not, then this documentary got paid to have Walgreens up on the screen for at least 2 minutes straight, I swear to God. But Prince basically, his people were kind of getting worried about his drug consumption, so they called in a specialist and help was on the way, and the doctor was going to show up the next day to help him get over his reliance on this medication. But when the doctor showed up, April 21st, they found him dead in his elevator, and they called 911. They played a little snippet of the 911 call. I really wish they would have played the whole thing, but he died of a fentanyl overdose, and he was actually proclaimed dead on the 21st, but most likely he died overnight, either late on the 20th or early on the April 21st. It's weird because they mentioned that he was alone that night, and then there's zero reason why he would be alone. Like, it really doesn't make any sense to me, especially since his people called for a specialist to come out because they were worried. So it doesn't make any sense. Why would he be alone? And nobody has the answers to these questions, but these are definitely questions that need to be asked, and I think that this is actually part of the Justice for Cuz movement that is going on, so that actually might be something that we want to look into as well. And then the documentary kind of ended, like they go to all of the people that they had been interviewing and just show them all crying and saying, oh my god, the world is completely different without him, and they're 100% correct. Like, without Prince, it's kind of crazy. But the documentary, as it stands, was really informative, and even me, as somebody who knows quite a bit about Prince, there are even still a few things that it was able to show me. I do like the fact that they took out a lot of the questionable things. They relied only on facts and things that they had video for, and they didn't just interview Prince's friend from 15 years ago. They had Shelby J on there, and they had Allo and Cory Booker and all of the people that he was talking to in his final year. I think that this obviously makes it a superior documentary compared to the other, which was not really a documentary, but still, it was, But I thought it was pretty good, very informative, and I think everybody should probably go watch it, especially if you didn't know anything about Prince. Because if you don't know anything about Prince, it's especially for you, because it fills in all the gaps and shows you all the things that Prince was about, and everything that he was doing in that final year was stuff that he had been doing his entire career. But if you are already a friend of Prince, then you probably know the majority of the stuff, but you might be surprised by the little bits. But what did you guys think of the documentary, The Last Year of Prince? Let me know down in the comments, and may you live to see the dawn. And if you liked that video, don't forget to hit that little subscribe button down there. It's right in the corner. And also, there's other videos below me. Definitely check those out. Also, follow us on social media, and you can support the channel by visiting our Patreon or our Redbubble merch store. See you next time.